We move through our lives surrounded by a constellation of relationships, a complex web of connections that we label as friends, family, lovers, and colleagues. We rely on these labels to provide us with a sense of security and order, trusting that the title implies the sentiment. We assume that a friend wishes us well, that a sibling supports our growth, and that a partner rejoices in our success. We build our reality on the foundation of these assumed loyalties, creating a persona that interacts with their personas in a social dance of politeness and expectation. However, beneath the surface of this polished social interactions, beneath the smiles and the dinner parties and the reassuring texts, there often flows a dark, subterranean river of unexpressed emotion. There are currents of envy, resentment, and hostility that remain unspoken because they are unacceptable to the conscious mind. The great Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung spent his life mapping these underground caverns of the human psyche, and his work provides us with a terrifying but necessary lens through which to view the reality of human connection. He taught us that we are not merely who we say we are, nor are we merely who we think we are. We are also everything we have rejected, everything we have denied, and everything we have repressed. Jung called this hidden repository the shadow. When we consider the possibility that someone close to us, someone who claims to love us, might actually harbor a secret, deep-seated hatred or resentment toward us, we are not talking about the open conflict of enemies. Open conflict is honest. Open conflict is safe, because it is visible. We are talking about something far more insidious. We are talking about the shadow of the other person reaching out to strangle the life force of our own potential. This hatred is often secret not only to you, but also to the person feeling it. They may not be consciously aware that they despise you. They may truly believe they love you, while their unconscious mind works tirelessly to undermine, diminish, and destroy you. This is the danger of the unintegrated shadow. When a person refuses to face their own darkness, they invariably project it onto the people closest to them. You become the screen upon which they project their own failures, their own cowardice, and their own unlived life. To navigate this dangerous terrain, we must look beyond the words people speak and learn to read the language of the unconscious, a language that speaks in slips, in omissions, in subtle cruelties, and in the energy that hangs in the air between two people. One of the most pervasive and easily overlooked signs of this hidden hostility manifests in the guise of humor. We have all experienced the moment where a comment cuts a little too deep, where a joke lands with the heavy thud of an insult, only to be immediately followed by the defensive disclaimer that it was just a joke and that you are being too sensitive. From a Jungian perspective, there is no such thing as just a joke when it comes to the interpersonal dynamic of the shadow. Humor is often used as a release valve for repressed aggression. The conscious mind, the persona, knows that it is socially unacceptable to say, "I hate you for being successful when I am failing," or "I despise your happiness because it highlights my misery." The persona suppresses this thought, but the energy of that hatred does not disappear. It pressurizes. It seeks an outlet. Humor becomes the perfect Trojan horse. It allows the aggressor to smuggle the truth of their resentment past your defenses and even past their own moral censorship. When someone close to you consistently makes you the punchline of their humor, especially humor that targets your vulnerabilities, your dreams, or your insecurities, they are revealing the geography of their shadow. They are telling you the truth in jest. They are deriving pleasure from your diminution. This is not affection. It is a form of psychological cannibalism where they feed on your smallness to inflate their own fragile ego. If you confront them and they gasp in mock surprise, accusing you of lacking a sense of humor, this is a secondary act of aggression. It is gaslighting. It is a refusal to take responsibility for the unconscious blade they just wielded. This leads us into the subtle and devastating territory of the backhanded compliment. This is a specific weapon of the shadow, designed to praise and wound simultaneously. It creates a state of cognitive dissonance in the receiver. You hear the words of praise, but you feel the sting of the insult. "You are so brave to wear that. I could never pull it off." Or, "It's amazing you got that promotion. I know they were looking to fill a quota." On the surface, the persona is offering support. Underneath, the shadow is delivering a message of inferiority. Jung would analyze this as a manifestation of envy that the ego cannot integrate. Envy is a painful emotion. To admit we are envious is to admit we feel lesser than another. To avoid this pain, the psyche twists the envy into a judgment or a critique disguised as praise. By qualifying your success or your appearance, they are attempting to bring you down to a manageable size. They are trying to regain a sense of superiority. If someone close to you cannot give you a pure compliment, if every good thing you do is met with a yes, but it is a sign that your light casts a shadow in their internal world that they cannot bear to look at. They hate you not for who you are, but for what you represent, the potential they have not realized in themselves. We must also look at the phenomenon of projection, which is perhaps the cornerstone of Jungian psychology regarding interpersonal conflict. Projection occurs when an individual attributes their own unacceptable traits, thoughts, and feelings to someone else. If someone close to you constantly accuses you of being selfish, arrogant, or unfaithful, and these accusations seem to come out of nowhere, or are vastly disproportionate to reality, you are likely functioning as a screen for their shadow. A person who has repressed their own selfishness, who walks around playing the role of the martyr, will often see selfishness everywhere they look. They will hate it in you because they cannot accept it in themselves. If you find yourself constantly defending your character against accusations that feel fundamentally alien to your nature, stop defending. You are not having a conversation about your reality. You are having a conversation about their internal civil war. They are fighting their own demons, but they are using your face to do it. This is a sign of deep, unconscious resentment. They resent you because you are carrying the burden of their disowned traits. In their mind, you are the embodiment of the sins they are trying so hard to hide. Another profound indicator of hidden hatred is the absence of celebration. Watch closely what happens when you share good news. This is the litmus test of the shadow. When you succeed, when you fall in love, when you achieve a goal, the people who truly love you will feel a resonance of joy. Their faces will light up, their energy will lift. The person who secretly hates you, however, will experience your success as a personal blow. You will see a micro-expression of disappointment, a flash of coldness in the eyes, or a stiffening of the jaw before the mask of the supportive friend slides back into place. This is often followed by a rapid changing of the subject, or an immediate pivot to how your news affects them, or a pointing out of the potential downsides of your good fortune. Jung termed this schadenfreude as opposite pain at another's joy. If your rising tide does not lift their boat, but instead makes them feel like they are drowning, they will unconsciously try to poke holes in your hull. They cannot afford for you to win because their internal sense of worth is comparative. It is a zero-sum game. For them to be enough, you must be less. Your victory is their defeat. We must also consider the mechanism of sabotage, which often masquerades as concern. This is one of the most confusing signs because it sounds like love. It is the parent who discourages the child from pursuing art because it's such a hard life, or the partner who suggests you shouldn't go to the gym because you look fine just the way you are, and you need your rest. On the surface, these statements seem protective, but the unconscious intent is to keep you small. Jung spoke of the devouring mother archetype, which can apply to any relationship, a force that seeks to keep the other person dependent, infantile, and contained. When you begin to grow, when you begin the process of individuation, becoming who you truly are, you inevitably disrupt the established dynamic of your relationships. The person who secretly resents you will feel threatened by your growth. They will use concern to plant seeds of doubt in your mind. They will amplify your fears. They will remind you of your past failures. They are the crabs in the bucket, reaching up to pull you back down, not because they want to save you from the world above, but because they cannot bear to be left behind in the dark. If you feel that someone is constantly warning you away from your potential, you must ask yourself if they are protecting your safety or protecting their own comfort. There is a somatic, visceral component to this as well. The body often knows what the mind refuses to acknowledge. Jung believed heavily in the intuitive function, the part of the psyche that perceives patterns and truths without the need for logical processing. You may find that you feel drained, exhausted, or physically ill after spending time with a specific person. You may feel a hangover after hanging out with them, even if no alcohol was consumed. This is your psyche registering the psychic attack. Interaction with a person who harbors secret hatred is an enormous energy drain because you are constantly, unconsciously defending yourself against their projections and their passive aggression. You are holding up a shield that you don't even know you are holding. Furthermore, you may notice their body language betraying them. We are animals, and our bodies react to threats and enemies instinctively. A person who hates you may have trouble maintaining eye contact, or their eyes may seem dead or cold when looking at you. They may physically recoil from your touch or position their body away from you, even while their words are welcoming. They may smile with their mouth, but not their eyes. These are the glitches in the persona. The conscious mind is saying, I am your friend, but the unconscious body is saying, I repel you. Trust the body. It is the older and wiser system. Another subtle sign is the weaponization of time and attention. This manifests as chronic lateness, forgetting important dates, or zoning out when you are speaking about things that matter to you. In the Jungian view, there are no accidents. Forgetfulness is a mechanism of repression. If someone constantly forgets your birthday, or forgets the lunch plans, or forgets to return your call, it is because you do not hold a value of priority in their psychic landscape. But more than that, it is a passive-aggressive display of dominance. By making you wait, by making you chase them, they are asserting control. They are signaling that your time is less valuable than theirs. It is a way of inflicting small punishments upon you. It is a withdrawal of libido, life energy, from the relationship. They are starving the connection while pretending to feed it. When you confront them, they will claim it is just a character flaw, that they are scatterbrained. But notice if they are scatterbrained with their boss or with the person they are trying to impress. Usually, they are not. The chaos is selective. It is directed at you. We must also look at the phenomenon of triangulation and isolation. A person who secretly hates you will often try to subtly separate you from your other support systems. They might drop tiny drops of poison in your ear about your other friends or your partner. I don't think she really respects you. Or, he seemed a bit rude to you tonight. They cast themselves as the only one who truly sees you, the only one who truly has your back, while simultaneously dismantling your trust in everyone else. This is a move of power and control. They want you isolated so that their version of reality becomes the only version of reality. They want to be the mirror in which you see yourself, and they want to ensure that the mirror is distorted to show a smaller, weaker version of you. They may also talk about you to others, spreading secrets or framing your struggles in a way that makes you look unstable or incompetent, all under the guise of worrying about you. This destroys your reputation and ensures that if you ever react to their abuse, you have already been painted as the crazy one. Then there is the competitive undertone that permeates the relationship. In a healthy bond, there is a sense of shared resources and shared joy. In a relationship poisoned by secret hatred, everything is a contest. If you have a headache, they have a tumor. If you had a bad day, they had the worst year of their life. If you bought a new car, they are thinking of buying a better one. This constant one-upping is a sign of a fragile ego that cannot exist without being superior. They cannot simply sit with you in your experience. They must hijack the narrative and make it about them, or they must prove that they are winning the game of life. They are keeping a scorecard that you don't even know you are playing on. This stems from a deep-seated feeling of inadequacy. To the unconscious mind of the hater, your existence is a threat to their validity. They must constantly prove, to themselves and to you, that they are the alpha, the dominant force. It is exhausting to be in a relationship where you are constantly being competed against by someone who is supposed to be on your team. Finally, we must look at the realm of dreams. Jung believed that dreams were the direct communication of the unconscious, compensating for the blind spots of the conscious mind. If you repeatedly have dreams where this person is attacking you, chasing you, stealing from you, or betraying you, you must pay attention. Your conscious mind might be saying, "But she is my sister. She loves me." Or, "He is my best friend. We've known each other for years." But your unconscious mind is picking up on the microsignals, the energy, and the hidden daggers that your persona refuses to acknowledge. Your dreams are stripping away the social masks and showing you the psychic reality of the dynamic. If you wake up feeling anxious or drained after dreaming of them, it is a warning. The psyche is trying to alert you to a danger that your social conditioning is training you to ignore. Understanding these signs is not just about labeling the other person as bad. That is a trap of the ego. It is about understanding the mechanics of the human shadow. The person who secretly hates you is likely suffering. They are at war with themselves. They are projecting their darkness onto you because they cannot bear the weight of it. However, understanding this does not mean you must endure it. Jung taught that the goal of life is individuation, becoming a whole, integrated self. You cannot individuate if you are constantly being poisoned by the projections of another. You cannot grow if you are in soil that is toxic. Recognizing these signs is the first step in withdrawing your energy. You do not necessarily need a dramatic confrontation, which often just feeds their narrative of you being difficult or crazy. You need a withdrawal of your psychic investment. You need to stop going to the hardware store for milk. You need to stop looking for love and validation in a well that is poisoned. When you see the backhanded compliment, the sabotage, the projection, you must see it for what it is, a confession of their own pain and brokenness, not a verdict on your worth. By seeing the truth, you break the spell. You step out of their play. You stop being the screen for their movie. You reclaim your own shadow, your own light, and your own reality. You begin to trust your own perceptions again. And in doing so, you protect the most valuable thing you possess, your potential to become the person you were meant to be. You leave them to wrestle with their own shadow, and you turn your face toward your own path, walking away from the hidden hatred and into the clarity of your own life. This is not cruelty. It is the ultimate act of self-preservation and the necessary condition for all true spiritual and psychological growth.